the foot of Lothric Castle, an old path still runs below the tower in the undead settlement. It was used to transport sacrifices to the Cathedral of the Deep. You should see where it leads, if you've the stones for it.
So we're travelling along the Road of Sacrifices towards the Cathedral of the Deep, and Aldrich, Saint of the Deep, apparently lies within. Aldrich is a Lord of Cinder, and a Lord of Cinder is someone who has linked the fire in a previous age. They were so mighty and powerful that they could link the fire and extend the Age of Flame. But that was in a past age, and now, alongside the other Lords of Cinder, Aldrich has been resurrected to link the fire once more, but this time he's hiding from his duty. He's run away to his home at the base of Lothric Castle. The Crestfallen Knight speaks of sacrifices that were presumably going to Aldrich because Aldrich is referenced as a devourer of men. So this path to Aldrich, this Road of Sacrifices, I think it was used a long time ago, because this path is now crawling with Corvian creatures, who are these deformed beastmen who we learn more about from their weapons, and they have a fascinating little story. The storyteller's staff reveals that the casters are heretical storytellers who share tales of the painted world to forlorn souls. However, the tellers themselves, they're also wretched beings with no place to go. The Corvians with the Great Knife are named as Unwanted. They're guided by the storytellers, and they wield this big old knife that is used to intimidate foes, but all it does is reveal how afraid they are themselves, because they fight like animals backed into a corner. Some wield great Corvian scythes, which directly reference Priscilla of the Painted World, and there are so many similarities between these creatures and Priscilla. If you remember, Priscilla was a crossbreed between a dragon and most likely a lord or a god. She was locked away in a painting where she speaks affectionately of all the other unwanted beings that were locked away with her.
This land is peaceful, its inhabitants kind.
So by mimicking Priscilla's weaponry and by telling her stories, it's really clear that these creatures admire or maybe even worship her, because these are unwanted, lost creatures, and Priscilla is the champion of the deformed and the unwanted and the rejected. If you drop off the bridge here, you'll find this hidden little alcove, this cave that hides Morn's Ring and a divine Braille tome. And in episode 3 we actually rescued the two characters that these items are associated with, Aegon of Karim and his captive, Irina. So considering how close this little cave is and the items within it, I really imagine these two sitting here, resting on their journey to their next destination. Aegon is a Knight of Karim, and Morn's Ring is a ring that's given to Knights of Karim to boost miracles. The character named Morn, who we haven't met yet and we might never meet him, he's described to be this high-ranking apostle within Karim's church system, and he laboured with the goddess Kaitha to provide comfort to the suffering. Kaitha has been referenced before. She's really frequently mentioned in Dark Souls 2 descriptions as this goddess of tears who's known as a compassionate being that is with us in times of tragedy, although there's some item descriptions that say that she's a demoness that guides us towards misfortune. And finally, we clear the Road of Sacrifices, and below us is the Crucifixion Woods. But before that, we come across a unkindled traveller who is coming through here much in the same way that we are. And that's something I missed in Bloodborne. Dark Souls is very much about meeting characters who really inhabit the same world that you do and empathise with the same struggles.
Oh, hello. How do you do? I am Anri of Astora, unkindled like you. This is Horace, a friend and travelling companion. Are you too in search of the Lords of Cinder? We are well along the Road of Sacrifices. Below us is the Crucifixion Woods. Beyond the flooded woods lies Farron Keep, home of the Undead Legion. Further yet is the Cathedral of the Deep. We seek the cathedral, home of the grim Aldrich. We may go our separate ways now, but we are both seekers of lords. The next time we cross paths, one may find the other in a time of need. May the flames guide your way.
So Anri of Astora is female here, right? But if you play as a female character, then she'll be a man.
We seek the cathedral, home of the grim Aldrich.
You'll understand why this is in a later episode, I promise. And I can't wait until April 12th when everyone has this game and when I can invade you guys. As of this date, only press and streamers have access to the English PC version, and while the current early access system is this complete mess, it's completely screwed up that the game is out early like this, I just can't help but cover it early, I'm sorry. Making videos is half the fun for me, I can't resist. One good thing did come out of it though. I was the first to kill PvP streamer Peeve Peverson, so that was fun. I mean, it was fun for me, I don't know if it was fun for him, but he gets me back for it later, so it's okay. Back at the shrine, we meet Cirrus of the Sunless Realms.
You're an unkindled, aren't you? I am Cirrus of the Sunless Realms, former servant of the divinity. Duties we each bear, but one's duty is a solitary affair. I doubt we've much to gain from fraternization. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
She certainly fits the bill as a blade of the dark moon, and the Sunless Realms could well be a reference to an Orlando and the illusion of sunlight that Gwendolyn projected upon it all that time ago. But that remains to be seen and remains to be confirmed. Back in the woods, we take out the giant enemy crab, which you'll have to take out fairly quickly, otherwise it can actually bury back beneath the ground and come up again with full health. One of them drops the Great Swamp Ring, which boosts Pyromancy and reminds us that Pyromancy is supposedly born of the Chaos Flame. Nearby is the Conjurer set and a tome that teaches us ancient pyromancies, so let's have a talk about Pyromancy. If you're rusty on your Dark Souls lore, remember that the Chaos Flame was created long ago by the Witch of Izalith. The witch tried to create a flame that could replace the fading first flame so that the light of the world could be restored. But everything went wrong, and instead the flame consumed her and spiraled out of control and created demons. One of the witch's sisters escaped and became the mother of pyromancy. Her name was Quelana, and her art was born of the Chaos Flame. She taught apprentices, the art was passed down, and as a result, the further back you go with pyromancy, the closer you get to the more powerful, the more primal spells. Cornix, a pyromancer we met in the undead settlement, tells us of this.
If you seek pyromancy tomes, take this sage advice. The lands of the lords converge upon Lothric. The home of pyromancy's drifts comparatively close as well. At least, that is what pyromancers of the Great Swamp believe. The place is called Izalith. Oh, how I wish to behold a primal pyromancy. Well, these are old tales. No one knows where the truth begins or ends.
He says that the lands of the lords converge upon Lothric, and that Izalith drifts comparatively close as well. So just like characters and souls are reborn and we see them again, just as time is convoluted and people are shifting in and out, are powerful places somehow drawn closer to the land of the lords when the flame fades as well? Could this explain what Emma said about the Lords of Cinder?
You will not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have left, gone, to their churning homes, converging at the base of this castle.
Within the central ruins of the Crucifixion Woods is a familiar figure. This crystal sage is one of two sages that went on to ally with the Undead Legion. He did so to train the sorcerers of Farron, which explains the multitude of undead sorcerers we just fought our way through. These sorcerers of Farron's Abyss Watchers were known to be lonesome warriors who would only rely upon more pragmatic spells. Phase 2 of the Sage is ridiculous. That was probably the boss that I had the most trouble with on my first playthrough. I must have attempted it like 5 times, because all of these illusions shoot so many spells and it's difficult to dodge them and not get stun-locked. So my advice for this is, 1. Do a lot of strafing and sprinting, and if you have a heavy weapon, just switch it out to a fist and smack one of the illusions and then move on to the next one, and then when you get to the real boss, just smack him into the ground. A sorcerer with his sanity does remain in the ruined keep.
Well, this is unexpected. I don't often have visitors. What do you want? This is my study that you've happened upon. If you haven't any business, I've reading to get back to. How intriguing. Very well. Indeed, I am a sorcerer, with plenty to share. However, what champion demands service without recompense? Clearly, you're not that sort of man. So you will make me a promise that in exchange for my teaching, you will bring me knowledge, in the form of scrolls detailing sorcery's secrets. Well, can you assure me of this? Very well. You're no fool. I take it you understand the weight of a promise. I am Orbeck, of Vinheim, unkindled one. I shall teach you sorceries. We will learn together. It shall be like our very own school.
Around him are hundreds of valuable scrolls, the hard work of an entire lifetime. Sorry, I had to do that. As we return to Firelink Shrine, Yuria tells us about her growing concern with Orbeck.
Orbeck of Vinheim is a cause of much consternation. If left alone, he may one day imperil thy rule. Fall to this matter yearly, else we are unravelled. Till we meet again.
Back again, I see. I suppose this means you're... What is this about? It seems too late. Then there's only one thing to do. With regret, I will end this here and now. But why? Is that all I'm worth?
Speak thy desire, honourable Lord of Hollows. Ah, I see Orbeck's claim is proven false. As it should be our right and deserving Lord of Hollows. It is a Londor treasure befitting of a true Lord. Lord of Hollows, may the dark sigil guide thy way.
Let me know if you liked this episode. This one was much more focused on the lore, but I could also focus more on tips or items or little tricks that I've learned on my first playthrough, so let me know, and I'll see you next time.